Happy Halloween, guys, and welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the October 30th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. Breaking down what I thought was a very forgettable edition of SmackDown from Friday. I talked all about it in my audio review of the Blue Brand from yesterday, so check that out if you haven't already. So we start off the show rather. Jackie Redmond and Matt Camp do. Running down the biggest headlines from the show, including the Trick or Street fight, the Usos losing to the New Day in the main event, Shotzi and Charlotte as well, which we'll get back to in a minute, as well as the Brock Lesnar $1 million fine. And Jackie Redmond believes that Adam Pearce made it personal with Brock when he put down that fine on the Beast. They then recap Charlotte Flair versus Shotzi in the night's opener. Good match, some weird moments, but overall a good match. We hear from Shotzi backstage at SmackDown with Kayla Braxton, and as an explanation for her actions when she attacked Sasha Banks very viciously following her loss and following the match. Kind of a weird dynamic there with Shotzi now as the heel and Sasha as the face. Kind of weird, but whatever. Shotzi just simply admits that she got fed up. She was fed up. She got screwed over for title opportunity after title opportunity. Now, I assume she's just talking about the main roster. Maybe she means NXT as well, but she and Ember Moon were literally the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions less than 6 months ago, so I assume she's talking about the main roster, and it's true. I mean, I talked about this in my SmackDown audio review, but she and Tegan beat Natalya and Tamina when they were the reigning WWE Women's Tag Team Champions 3 different times. It's not like they beat the champs right before the draft, and then they didn't get their title match because they got drafted to different shows. That would have been dumb. Even worse than that, though, was that they beat the champions in 3 non-title matches and never got a title shot. Rhea and Nikki beat the champions once and got a title shot like the next week. So, elaborate on how that makes sense. And the answer is, it doesn't. It was incredibly dumb. So she's pissed off, and at least they're attempting to explain why she's a heel now. Because I saw the report a few weeks ago, Shotzi's going to be heel on the SmackDown brand. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Like, she's a natural babyface. There's no reason to turn her, but at least they're giving her a reason for why she's turning heel, so we'll see if it works out. She also adds that her partner left her, which isn't actually accurate. Matt Camp alluded on, or rather expanded on that after she was done with her interview, but she just kind of says that Sasha was her breaking point on Friday, and now Sasha's her target, and she's going to run over everyone in her way. I don't know if she means literally or figuratively, and I thought figuratively, but I'm thinking now, reading that back in my notes, that she has a tank, so she might mean literally as well. But as Matt Camp explains after the interview was over, Tegan did not leave Shotzi. Shotzi got drafted to SmackDown, Tegan got drafted to Raw, so they got separated by the draft. If you want to take that up with management, go right ahead. The funny, ironic thing about that, and obviously heels can have this twisted sense of logic, is that Shotzi also left her partner, not Tegan, but rather Ember Moon. Shotzi willingly didn't get drafted, but in storyline willingly, seemingly got moved to SmackDown or went to SmackDown on her own. So she actually ditched her tag team partner for another one in Tegan Nox. So if anyone should be pissed, and it looks like she is based on recent events in NXT, it should be Ember Moon. But at any rate, Jackie Redmond says that she made a statement with her attack on Sasha, and we'll see where it goes. They then recap the Trick or Street fight with Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura losing to Baron Corbin or Happy Corbin or whatever, and Madcap Moss in tag team action. And Matt Camp says that Carrillo and Garza also made a statement and costing the babyfaces the match and helping out Corbin and Moss with their wins. So they made a statement with their actions on Friday as well. They talked about Drew McIntyre versus Mustafa Ali, and that McIntyre all year long has been about accepting challenges and building up wins since coming to SmackDown, and Friday was no different, beating Ali in a matter of minutes. We hear Ali's post-match promo replayed, and Camp says that clearly Ali is just frustrated. And this whole talk about he's not him, he says, and he can't relate, so maybe this is true, maybe it's not, very likely not. Because Ali said in this promo, the reason why you guys boo me is because my name is Mustafa Ali. Clearly that is not the case, but twisted, heels, like I said, have a twisted sense of logic, so I would get it from that perspective. But to go into the whole, race thing with Ali, I just think is unnecessary, unless it was his idea, or, even then, it's not the greatest idea. We'll see. We'll see where they go with it. I'm not exactly sure what the end game is here. I would have just turned it back babyface, but that's just me. But Matt says that Ali needed a win, and he's frustrated. So we actually hear from Ali, and when Kayla asks him for kind of an explanation of his promo, he says, I know you would understand, Kayla, but they out there wouldn't understand, so it's not worth my time, and he walks off. So a very short-lived interview, if you can even call it that. Matt Camp says, who is he referring to? He said they. Is that the fans? Is it management? Is the wrestlers? I thought Mustafa made it pretty clear that he was talking to the WWE Universe. I mean, when he said they, he looked right into the camera and pointed at the fucking camera. So, unless he was referring to someone on the other end that he thought was watching Talking Smack on a Saturday morning, I'm pretty sure he's referring to the WWE Universe and that they don't understand, which is why he's a heel. That would make sense. Camp says that it got personal, even more personal, between Naomi and Sonya Deville on Friday's SmackDown, and his advice for Naomi, just keep fighting. And Jackie brings up, well, she's fighting unfair fights, and Matt Camp says, well, yeah, she's just got to keep fighting, though, or at least talk to Adam Pearce and figure something out. And we hear from Naomi backstage at SmackDown. She says to Caleb Braxton that she's got to stay focused. She's got to stay focused. It's distracting having to deal with both Deville and Baszler simultaneously, but it's because neither one of them want to face her one-on-one in a fair fight. Deville's hiding behind the fact that she's an authority figure, and Shayna just doesn't want, I don't know if she's intimidated by Naomi, which Naomi says that she is, but Shayna doesn't want to fight, in Naomi's words. She doesn't want to fight Naomi in a fair fight, one-on-one, because they had a match on Friday, but it was a minute because of Sonya being the special guest referee. So that's what she thinks is going on here, and she says that they will know no peace until she gets, what she wants, and she gives them their comeuppance. And she definitely feels that Sonya is intimidated of her, as is Shayna. And she calls them out. She looks right in the camera and says, Sonya, retire the suit, get back in the ring, and let's settle this. Shayna, same to you. So she calls out the both of them. We'll see what happens next week on SmackDown. And then to close out Talking Smack here, Camp and Redmond run down the New Day Usos match. The segment first, where the Usos, accepted their challenge to a match later on in the show. And they recap the match as well. And Camp brings up that these two teams have a lot of history. They've faced off many, many times, but never before with the New Day having royalty. Like it even fucking matters. King Woods reigning supreme over his kingdom, he says. And Camp even teases Roman Reigns maybe having an issue with Woods, calling himself the King of SmackDown, and Reigns may not like that being the tribal chief of the Blue Brand. And then to close out the episode, Jackie asks Matt, what are you doing for Halloween? And he said, well, I was Tony D'Angelo the other day, probably on The Bump. I don't watch The Bump, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, so I guess he was Tony D'Angelo the other day. And for Halloween, on Halloween itself, he's going to be a panda bear with his daughter, which is very cute. And Jackie doesn't give away what her costume's going to be, if anything. So I thought it was a nice note to end on for the Halloween edition of Talking Smack. Pretty standard stuff. The Ali interview lasted all of literally 10 seconds, so nothing really to watch there. The Shotzi explanation I thought was well done. We need to hear that on SmackDown, though. We need to hear that explanation on SmackDown, and hopefully they can either replay this or just have her cut the same promo on SmackDown next week. She shows good intensity. I think Shotzi can work as a heel. I do think she's a natural babyface, so I'm not a big fan of that, but we'll see where it goes. And then who else did we hear from? We heard from Shotzi, we heard from Ali. Naomi as well. I thought Naomi's intensity as well was very good. I thought she was great. So check out this episode for those two things alone. And usually WWE puts up the highlights on their YouTube channel, so no real reason to watch Talking Smack in its entirety this week, or really ever for that matter, because it's just not the same without the same format we were getting this time a year ago. I saw on my timeline from the Bump Twitter account on the Talking Smack Halloween episode last year when Caleb Braxton dressed up as Sami Zayn. That was amazing. I wish we would get that again, but they just don't have fun with the show anymore, so it is what it is. Thank you guys for checking out my reviews of Talking Smack here on the channel. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit that bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. Tomorrow will be my Dark Side of the Ring review. Yesterday was my SmackDown audio review. Friday, we had all my live reaction videos from Dynamite and Rampage in Boston, so check those out. We have plenty of interviews already here on the channel and coming up pretty soon. In the last week and a half, we've had a number of people. Skylar Gray, very well-known recording artist. She's awesome singer. Check out that interview from the other day. My interview with Indy Hartwell. We had Rey Mysterio here on the channel. Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, Dangerous Danny Davis, Adam Bomb, a.k.a. Brian Clark, Terry Runnels, another Terry. All of those went up in the last couple of weeks. And then coming up in the weeks to come, in the days to come, we got QT Marshall from AEW, Booker T, we got Jeff Jarrett as well, so some pretty notable names coming here to the channel in the days to come. So stay subscribed and check out all that cool content. I would appreciate it, guys. So I'm on my way to Salem, Massachusetts right now for a grand Halloween day. No parties, nothing really planned specifically. But I do think it's going to be a lot of fun, though, so I look forward to it. So on that note, guys, have an awesome rest of your Halloween. Enjoy your weekend. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.